So Vitus have just dropped their 2022 mountain bike range. And in this video, we're gonna go and take a look at all the new stuff, look at all the fancy new colors, all the specs on the bikes, so you guys know what to expect. Oh my God, I'm gonna sneeze. Oh my God. Well, it's also worth pointing out as well that this is our 4th year of working with Vitus. And when we first started working with them, the bikes were completely different back then, and the brand didn't really have the presence it does today. So it wasn't as well known. It wasn't very likely that when you went out riding, you would come across somebody on the same bike as you, or let alone another Vitus, pretty much anywhere. Nowadays though, you can literally go out on the trails here, or pretty much anywhere, and there's a higher chance that you'll see somebody on a Vitus Sommet, an Escarpe, or even an E-Sommet. They seem to be one of the most popular ones I've seen. I don't want this to come across though as a really biased review or anything. I'm just literally wanting to put this video together just to give you guys a glimpse into what the mountain bike range looks like for 2022. So if you are looking at getting one of these bikes, or even if you've never even heard of Vitus before, you can get a good overview of the specs on each bike and which bike is probably the best for you and the type of riding you're going to be doing. I'm primarily going to look at 3 models in this video. We're going to look at the Escarpe, we're going to look at the Sommet, and we're going to look at the E-Sommet, and we're going to go through all the different changes that have been made for 2022, because some of them are really, really cool. And yeah, just give you a really good insight as to what the specs look like and what you can expect. So first of all, let's look at the Escarpe. So the Escarpe is basically a 150mm travel trail bike, which is capable of probably anything you want to throw at it, especially if you're here in the UK. That would probably be one of my first choices of bike in terms of like how much travel it has. If you were looking at doing like an all-round variety of every kind of ride, from trail centers to enduro, maybe even a little bit of downhill thrown in there as well. This year, the Vitus Escarpe comes in both 29 and 27 inch wheel size, so you've got a good variety there depending on if you like the smaller wheel size or you like the big wagon wheel 29ers. You can buy full bike and the frame only, so if you want to do like a custom build yourself, you can do that. So the 29er CRX is basically like this British racing green frame color, which I think is really, really cool. It comes primarily with Fox suspension, Shimano drivetrain, Shimano brakes. We've got an Assegai on the front and a Dissector on the back. Really good tires from Maxxis. We've got those really, really cool Nuke-Proof Horizon V2 wheel set, which I've been running now for a while. If you like loud hubs, these wheels are absolutely quality. They're a really good sound to them. Pretty damn cool. This bike also has a flip chip as well, so you can play around with the geometry depending on the riding characteristics you're looking for in the bike. There isn't really anything on this bike that I would choose to change out of the box. Obviously it comes down to personal preference as well, but you could buy this bike and you could go and shred the trails and you wouldn't have to or want to change anything. Sure, you could make some changes if you wanted to. You could put a bigger shock on it, you could put a chain guide on it, you could do all sorts of other things to it. You don't really need to. It comes out the box ready to go. For me, this bike is probably for somebody who wants to do an all-round variety of riding. A little bit of enduro, a little bit of trail riding, maybe a little bit of cross-country. They want to basically own one bike that can do it all. So let's move on to the Sommet, which is the Escarpe's big brother, you could say. The Sommet is basically Vitus's like enduro race machine, if you like. Like, it's a full-on capable bike with 170mm travel on the front and 160mm travel, well, 162mm travel on the back. This year is quite cool because last year we had the option to run a full 29er bike or a 27.5 bike, and it had that flip chip in there as well, so you could change the geometry and you could also run the mullet setup. So like I've been doing for the last few months and I'm absolutely loving, is running the mullet setup. I've flipped the chip, so I've got a small wheel on the back, big wheel on the front. Really, really like the riding characteristics of the bike. I feel it handles better in the steeper stuff. I can get over the back of the bike more. I just feel it's really more maneuverable compared to the two 29er wheels. This year though, there's actually an option for you to buy a 29.7 bike. This is a mullet bike from stock. So it comes with a big wheel on the front, small wheel on the back. And the geometry is slightly different than if you were to get a 29er bike and flip the chip and put a small wheel on the back, which makes sense. And they have this real cool bike that's called the Amp, which is like this like maroon red color into a fade at the back, which is black. And then this really, really bright in your face Vitus logo running up the top of the down tube. I think that looks wicked. This bike primarily comes with RockShox and SRAM components. So depending on if you are more of a Fox Shimano guy, like I kind of am, or was, maybe we'll talk about another video, or you are more of a RockShox and SRAM person, there's now like a bike to choose from to suit that. That's really, really cool. I think the colors just keep getting better and better every single year. I'll put a picture now on the screen of where Vitus has come from, and you can see the progress of the bikes, the design, the colours, everything. Like, it's all so cool, and it's really cool to be a part of the journey as it evolves. Obviously the CRX comes in that British racing green colour, if you like. And if we look into the CRS model, so this is kind of like the middle spec bike, which comes in at just over £3,000, which is amazing. We've got RockShox suspension, Shimano SLX drivetrain, which is like the best of price and performance. Shimano SLX brakes. Like, this bike is a beast out of the box. And we've got the nuke-proof Neutron V2 wheel set. So these are different than the Horizon wheel set. Still a really strong, reliable wheel set, just a little bit different. Out of the box, this bike is good to go, and really good as well if you're looking to save a few pennies as well, and you just want like a, you know, good all-around bike for a really, really decent price. While we're talking about price here, I think it's really good to bring this up. It's a question that comes up a lot with these bikes. You will not be surprised the amount of times that people ask me, how do Vitus manage to sell their bikes at the price that they're at? Like, compared to, say, Santa Cruz, Specialized, Giant, all the big brands, the same spec bike, you'd be definitely looking at paying double the amount for the same spec of a Vitus. Well, how are they so inexpensive, or how are they so accessible? And it's not because these bikes are cheap as such or anything like that. Like, these bikes, as I'm trying to show you now, they're performance driven out the box. So like, you can get the highest spec bikes for like half the price you would pay for, say, a Santa Cruz, as an example. It's because there is no middleman. Vitus have tried to keep their costs as low as possible, and you can only buy them online. There's your answer to that. It's not a cheap bike, it's just an accessible bike sold at a really, really good price. So, and then we've also got the Sommet CR. So this is kind of like the entry level Sommet. You can also get this in 29er, you can get it in a mullet. This bike out of the box, Maxxis tyres, a solid Shimano Dior drivetrain, which I have used on my Mythic and can't fault it. RockShox suspension, dropper post. It's everything you would need for an enduro trail bike out the box. So let's move over to the electric side of things and we'll look at the E-Sommet. This is literally one of my favourite bikes. If you've ever ridden an e-bike, you'll know where I'm coming from. Like, these things whiz up the hills. You can do twice the amount of riding as you would be able to do on a normal bike. They're just insane. And we've got our friend Joe Smith demoing how good they go around corners, and they just look like they're on rails here, so thumbs up. We'll look at the VRX model, which is that British racing green colour again. Comes in at a price of $5,499, which is damn competitive for an e-bike considering some of the other bikes that you can get at the minute. Really, really solid build. Nuke-proof V2 Horizon wheels, Shimano XT drivetrain, RockShox suspension, aggressive Maxxis tyres. It's just a bike that works. Oh, there's Rob Warner. If you ever watch some of his videos, he's probably one of the funniest people to ever enter the mountain bike world.
You know that bike I lent you?
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to why it's laid upside down on a rock over there.
That's not actually the bike you lent me, that's your bike.
What?
That I just rode up for you, so.
So you dumped it there?
Yeah.
Did you mean it to be like that?
No, I sort of put it down and then it sort of went a bit more.
When you thought it was fine just to sort of leave £5,500 worth of brand new E-Sommet Vitus, there's hardly any of them in the country, just leave it there like that.
That's alright, isn't it?
Doesn't even have to have any meaning, he's just ridiculously funny. So then we'll move down the range and we'll look at the VRS E-Sommet. So this is again middle of the road package, just comes in at under 5,000 UK pounds, which is pretty decent. And on this build we've got full Shimano SLX drivetrain, we've got those aggressive Maxxis tyres on there, nuke-proof finishing kit, so handlebar and stem, and we've got nuke-proof Neutron wheel sets. And again, I love these colours. I quite like the primer grey, the red logo and the red writing, and the fade into the black of them. And then the VR bike comes in this cool midnight blue colour, Shimano Dior drivetrain, WTV wheels, RockShox forks and RockShox shock. If you're looking for like an entry level e-bike, this is probably the one for you. All these bikes are delivering performance at whatever level you want to come in at. Whether you are literally coming in as a completely beginner into the e-mountain bike space or mountain biking space and you're looking for a trail bike or an enduro bike, they've got something for you. And especially if you're, say, my level and you're looking for like the highest performance stuff, they're catering for that as well. So I hope this video has been useful to you, whether you've come across Vitus bikes or not, or maybe you're like us and you already have a Vitus and you're looking to upgrade. If you are looking at getting a new bike for 2022, or you're looking at getting a Vitus and you just want to find out more information about them, you want to go to vitusbikes.com and you can see all the information about the specs, geometry, the different frame colors, and they also have a really cool page on their website which shows you when all the models of the bikes are going to be available throughout 2022, so you can keep an eye on that. They're updated weekly and you can be ready for the drop to go and grab one. And if you've got any questions as well on these bikes, drop them in the comments below and I'll get them answered and get back to you. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care. Think of it.